Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I want to talk about the EU Migration Pact. These are just my own thoughts on it. You might have heard the expression that there are no coincidences in politics, and I believe, as far as this Migration Pact is concerned, the same thing goes. This pact comes hot on the tail of a referendum hammering that the government got there recently. They've come out lately and said that yes, one of the referendums, the durable relationships, was to enhance and advance the chain migration, family reunification agenda. So, when that didn't work, all of a sudden then we get this EU migration pact that we're being pushed into. We're not getting a say in this, Now, what I don't think is a coincidence, right, that, since the war in Gaza started, our Deputy Prime Minister, or as he's known here in Ireland, Taoiseach, Micheál Martin, has been going over and back to Israel on frequent visits. Even before the war started, he's been going to Israel to speak to Benjamin Netanyahu. And all of a sudden now, we have another bit of a war kicking off between Israel and Iran. And cue the EU Migration Pact. Now, I believe that this pact has been timed to coincide with these conflicts. And I believe this pact has been set in place, or is about to be set in place, right? Not to deal with the migrants that we've got already, but for the next wave of migration that will be coming from the Middle East due to these conflicts. Now, you'll be forgiven for thinking, especially if you're on my side, that Micheál Martin has been going over to Benjamin Netanyahu, sorting out, coming to some kind of an arrangement with the figures of Palestinians and or Palestinians that will be brought to Ireland. I believe this is the case. I firmly believe now that Europe is being set up at the moment to take in potentially millions of migrants from that region due to conflicts with Israel. Now, the Israeli government does have expansionist ideas. And what I would ask you to look into is the Greater Israel Plan, or the Greater Israel Agenda, whereby they plan to expand the borders of Israel using conflicts in the region. Now, it's also not coincidental that no Islamic State around Israel will take the Palestinians either. So it seems to be all set up now that they will indeed, and according to some Israeli ministers, they've mentioned sending the Palestinians to Europe. And one guy even mentioned Ireland. So the agenda is there. I believe all the pieces are now being put in place for this to happen very, very soon. And, I think we do need to keep this in mind, to be very, very aware of it, that, this is not beyond our government in the slightest, So I think this is going to affect local politics, because as we know now, right, if this EU migration if they do go ahead with it, right, and as we know, a lot of directives are sent down from the EU via our government and into local authorities or local councils, but this is going to affect everyone in Ireland and in Europe. It's going to affect, the common man, I suppose, an easy way to think of it is, okay, think of the EU as a water reservoir, and, the water flows down through the system and it comes out through tap in your house. So that would be local council, So basically, these councils are sent directives, and then they're implemented in the wider community. So you've housing, you've climate change policies, environmental, all this kind of stuff. So it's at that point when these directives that come, either from the EU or come from outside the EU to the EU and then down to local government, come in contact with, the local population. This is where the problem is. I believe ultimately what needs to happen is that there needs to be local government in place to say no to this agenda or these agendas when they're being sent down in the form of directives through local council, and then they're administered in locally, So what I would say is, this is the time where we need to, so to speak, turn the tap off on these directives coming in, because I have a funny feeling that we're now just about to see another massive wave of migration, which will decimate whatever remaining housing stock we have in the country, and will put pressure on more services like health, education, welfare, and is going to cost us a fortune in the end. So I'm running in local election here in Cork South Central, and only if you can afford it, if you have a couple of bob and you'd like to donate to my fund, I have GoFundMe in the links below. I had a Give Send Go, but it's giving me trouble. So look, if you'd like to throw a couple of bob my way for leaflets, posters, etc., you'll see it in the link in the description. Okay, so look, that's something to think about for now. Like I said, there are no coincidences. Okay, everyone, have a good one. Bye-bye.